This is an absolute steal for the Los Angeles Lakers following a brand new report that has dropped surrounding one player in particular that not only has fans fired up, but is an absolute robbery for this Lakers team. I'm going to break down exactly who that is and discuss what this means going forward, as well as a few other updates. Before we get into it all, folks, if you're part of the percent who aren't subscribed to the channel, but 71% of you are watching right now aren't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your guys' support has been truly unbelievable. You guys have been absolute beasts. But folks, a lot to go over today, and obviously the Lakers are in desperate need of a upgrade at the at the wing position. Of course, they need a point of attack defender. They need a lot of different things. And Rob Pelinka promised us Lakers fans that moves were going to be made. And it seems they're getting closer to making a move. And a brand new article and report has dropped. And we'll dive into the full report here surrounding one player. Key free agent stirs Lakers speculation after hiring Luka Doncic's agent. We'll dive into the agent and all these different things because this one player has a lot of links to the Lakers beyond what a lot of people are realizing. You can see this here. The Lakers will continue to look for ways to upgrade the roster. Of course, Beal went to the Clippers. Damian Lillard went back to the Trailblazers. But this late into free agency, the Lakers aren't going to find many big names, but they could still find solid guard depth. And one of the names is Gary Payton II. And he is a very, very interesting name. We know that Dan Wokey and Joe Varden of The Athletic came out this week and said that the Lakers' number one priority right now is point of attack defense. And Gary Payton II would absolutely be, that's exactly what he does. That is his calling card. And he's not going to score a lot of points, 5 points a game, but he's one of the best defenders in the NBA and one that would fit this team absolutely perfectly. And of course, this article dropped. And then there was a brand new report from Anthony Irwin as well, revealing that Gary Payton II is very much on the Lakers' radar per Anthony Irwin. And like I always say in the channel, take what Anthony Irwin says with a grain of salt. He's right. Sometimes he's wrong. Other times. But you pair that with the articles that are dropping, the speculation that's being fueled, and especially from a notable reporter in Dan Wokey revealing essentially that the Lakers are looking at specifically a player like Gary Payton II. It makes all the sense in the world. Now, let's dive into the Lakers, how this would fit. Now, of course, the Lakers at this moment don't have a lot of depth at the on their bench. You have Bronny James, who is playing himself into a rotation spot with how good he's been this summer league, truly being one of the best 55th overall picks we've seen in a very long time. Dalton Knecht hasn't really impressed Dalton Knecht at all in summer league, but other than that, their bench depth, which we'll dive into, is pretty rough. You can see here the Lakers have additional roster work to do. The team can create a roster spot by waiving Shake Milton, which is going to happen. And team sources have said that improving the team's point of attack defense is a priority. And that's the full quote from Dan Wokey and Joe Varden. The Lakers have plenty of scoring between Doncic, LeBron, and Reaves. We know that. And of course, I'm not too worried about their scoring, at least with their starting lineup. The bench scoring could definitely use an upgrade. They got Jake LaRavia. He's going to be very interesting. But if you bring in Gary Payton, it opens up a lot of different questions. Now, you do have you have Gabe Vincent off of the bench, who we assume is going to, try to come back and be better next year. He hasn't been good at all in his Lakers tenure, right? And he's also not a scorer. He's a decent shooter, pull up mid-range game a little bit. Gary Payton will be a guy who plays maybe 15 minutes a game, but his number one goal is to play elite defense against the opposing team's best guard. That's what Gary Payton would do. That's what he's done at the NBA at various levels, including various teams, including playoff games, and he's had a very key role in a lot of these teams. And Anthony Irwin came out and said that there were some whispers connecting Gary Payton to the Lakers even before he signed with Bill Duffy, which we'll dive into in a minute. I can safely say he's very much on the Lakers' radar. So it seems to me, and it seems to Anthony Irwin, this is a serious consideration. And you look at a lot of the players that have already been gone. Bradley Beal done, Damian Lillard done. So those two pipe dreams are out of the question now. They're not going to be able to be had. You don't have to save money for any of those guys. Al Horford still technically available. I'm sure they're doing their due diligence there. DeAnthony Melton also still available, and I think that's what's taking so long here for these guys to get signed. For the Lakers specifically, they're probably waiting to see if DeAnthony Melton's going to sign elsewhere, if Al Horford. Their number one priority probably isn't a guy like Gary Payton. However, he is one of the, and this is a very convoluted chart here, but he is one of the best defenders in basketball, and he's the guy who can guard the point guard, the shooting guard, the small forward position. You can see here from Red Mamba, he would be a home run signing for the Lakers. It would be the minimum, you would assume, the veteran minimum. Of course, they have some of the MLE left, but it would be the veteran minimum in this case. And you look at the team and how this would, everything would shake out with this Lakers team. You have Doncic, Reaves, LeBron, Rui, and Ayton there. Very solid team. Defensively, not great. On the bench, you have Gabe Vincent, Bronny James, Dalton Knecht, Jake LaRavia. And of course, I assume Maxi Kleber might get some run. Maybe we'll see a little bit of a Du Thiero who has missed the entire summer league and will miss the rest of the summer league because it ends very soon, ends this weekend with an injury. That being said, though, there is some not much upside offensively there on the in the bench, and of course Gary Payton wouldn't help with that. But you have to solve a bunch of issues here at the same time. Of course, Shake Milton, he's probably going to be gone. Dalton Knecht, he's going to try to be the offensive powerhouse off the bench that the Lakers drafted him hoping he'd be. Jake LaRavia, I think he has potential to be a 10 to 15 point per game scorer off of the bench. I truly believe he has a ton of upside. And then for, of course, Gary Payton, he's not going to be a scorer. He's a decent three-point shooter, and he's shown the ability. He's a career 34% three-point shooter. He is a very good defender, though, and that's what he would be. Last year with the Warriors, a team that was trying to win, made the playoffs. He started 11 games, 62 game, 50, whatever, 51 games off the bench. Very solid, role. Think back to his time with Golden State in 2021 in the playoffs. Very solid in the playoffs as well. Like, he's a guy who isn't going to play a ton of minutes. Like I mentioned, probably 15 minutes a game, and he would probably be kind of combined with lineups with Luka Doncic on the floor to help kind of counteract Doncic's poor defensive ability, and even guys like Reaves' poor defensive ability. And the good news is his primary skill set is guarding 1 through 3, which is where the Lakers lacked last season regarding defense. They got abused against the Timberwolves. Awesome Reaves was in a cage the whole game. I mean, it was by McDaniels, and they were long and they're defensive. You have Gary Payton, a guy off the bench who you can just put on the opposing team's best guard and cause havoc. It would be very interesting. And maybe they think that Bronny James can be that guy, so they don't go out and get him. But what we do know is that not only is he high on the Lakers' radar, but recently signed, I believe his new agency is Bill Duffy, which is the same agent that Luka Doncic has. And, not to throw full speculation out there, but that obviously, adds some more fuel to the fire here, and it makes it more interesting because they have now the same agent. They can work out something to come to Los Angeles, veteran minimum. Gives Gary Payton a chance to win an NBA championship. He's 32 years old, still an elite defender. And I think at this point, he's had a very solid career as a bench player. Come over to LA, former Los Angeles Laker. Remember back there in 2017, 2018, those days for 11 games. And he kind of thrived ever since. He is an efficient player. He's not going to shoot a lot. When he does, it's probably going to go in. You can look at his field goal percentage, 57% last year. So a really, 60% the year before. It's crazy, right? Or sorry, in 2022, 60%. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Obviously, small sample size. He's not going to be someone who necessarily puts his team over the top, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Now, a few other things to go over as well. Quickly, before we wrap up, Damian Lillard, he signed a 3-year, $42 million deal with the Trailblazers. The Lakers were slightly involved in that. But at the end of the day, I don't believe they're one of the teams who offered him a contract. We know the Celtics offered him the MLE. The Lakers did offer him a contract. I believe it was the veteran minimum, but they didn't go above and beyond to try to, pursue him, I guess. It was the Celtics, it was the Trailblazers, and a few other teams. Trailblazers ultimately got him. He has a full no-trade clause. He has, making $42 million over 3 years on top of the $20 million he's making through his stretch contract with the Bucks. He's back home, no stress, can rehab with his family around, and no pressure to win. So it's exactly what Dame wants, and fair enough, good for him. And at the end of the day, the Lakers have other things to do and more work to do. But that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on all this, folks. Thank you guys for watching. See you later. You guys are peace.